Alright everybody, in this video I'm going to give you my high-level overview of the stock of Adobe. The stock of Adobe is down 13% year to date, it's down 23% over the last 12 months, and it's actually down 39% from its previous peak in early 2024. So are we potentially looking at an attractive opportunity here? Let's find out. All right, so I just wanted to sit down and give you really a high-level overview of what I think about Adobe at the current price. Are we looking at an opportunity here, or is Adobe maybe a value trap due to very real disruption risks the business is facing right now? And what you maybe can let me know in the comments down below after watching the video is, should I do a follow-up video in which I discuss the name more in depth? Today I'm going to take a look at the financials of Adobe. I'll discuss two key risks. I'll discuss the bull thesis and the bear thesis. What I will not do, however, is there was a recent Adobe summit that I haven't dug into yet. And I also saw that the Twitter user, mostly borrowed ideas, which some of you may know, some may not. He published an episode on the name, which I'm sure will be super educational as well. So I may do a follow-up video with some additional thoughts. We'll wait and see how this video here performs. So first of all, someone else on Twitter posted the other day his thesis for investing in Adobe. This investor is Graham Horse. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. May have butchered that pronunciation. Doesn't really matter here. So he wrote, I otherwise initiated a position at Adobe this morning, and he wrote this on March 24th. My half-baked thesis, quote-unquote AI loser narrative, feels overblown, reducing shares at a rate of around 4% year over year, trading at 18.5 times normalized earnings per share before stock-based compensation, though consistent, high single-digit revenue growth, still has some pricing power, technical support at $390 a share, insider buying, etc. So generally speaking, I have to say I love these kinds of theses. Like, just give me your high-level overview, 5 points, why do you think this is an attractive opportunity? And being able to articulate this actually requires skill, because you have to identify what really matters to the thesis. However, I took the time to respond to this tweet here, because I'm not sure if I entirely agree with Graham Horse here. I mean, just to be clear, I'm not strongly disagreeing here, but I don't own Adobe shares as of now. I've seen the name pop up more and more on my X feed, but I'm not overly excited to pull the trigger here at the current price yet, even though I think we may be looking at an opportunity. So this may sound counterintuitive to you, but what I will say, I think one of the strongest skills you can develop as an investor is to just say no to a lot of ideas. So Adobe may work out from here, absolutely. But does it mean I have to participate here? Not necessarily, if I'm not so sure about the downside risk, if that makes any sense. So I responded to him, and I took the time to highlight why I think, or why I'm a little more cautious when it comes to Adobe. So maybe we should take a look at the numbers first of all. So I pulled up a couple of numbers that really illustrate what a fantastic business Adobe actually is. So it's a very high margin business. Just look at the margin profile you see on screen right now. Those margins are incredibly very rare, and they definitely demonstrate that Adobe, as of today, is a super high quality business. Then on top of that, you have recurring revenues, which is of course another quality characteristic. Adobe made that transition to a subscription-based business model, I don't know, 10 plus years ago, and this has benefited the company and shareholders massively. The stock has performed incredibly well. If we just take a look at the 10-year price CAGR, for example, give me a moment to pull it up here. The total return over the last 10 years is 421%, and the 10-year CAGR is around 17 to 18%, which is of course very impressive. Then just generally, if we look at the development of some key figures, we see pretty much consistent revenue growth every single quarter over the last 10 years. Similarly, profits have been going up. The share count is another interesting metric to pay attention to. It has also quite steadily been declining over the more recent years, basically ever since 2007. So in 2007, there were a total diluted shares outstanding of 612 million, and now we're down to 445 million. So that's a significant reduction of the total shares outstanding, which is another plus as an investor who's looking at a stock. And if we maybe now go back to the price action that we have been seeing in Adobe, here you can see a chart that shows the maximum drawdown of Adobe, again, over the last 10 years. We're basically seeing the second biggest drawdown Adobe investors had to go through over the last 10 years or so. So we're down like 44% right now from a previous peak, which is definitely significant. Okay, now to get back to my counter thesis, so to speak. So why I'm not investing at Adobe here, I just highlighted why it's such a wonderful business. I think there are two main reasons. So the first one would be, the one thing I dislike about Adobe is, yeah, they have a great product, but my perception is that customers do not love the price to value ratio they are getting. So they love the product. It's the gold standard when it comes to creating videos, content, images, all these creative tools. However, they don't like as I just said, the price to value ratio. They feel handcuffed by the company. The company and the product is so sticky that they cannot just switch to another competitor, because the learning curve, learning a new video editor tool, for example, this takes time and takes effort, and this creates a switching cost, which again is great as an investor, because you love to invest in businesses with high switching costs. However, what investors, or at least I, do not like is if companies start extracting too much value from their customers because of that lock-in effect. And that's sort of the perception I get when I browse Reddit, for example, read in other creative forums what the perception of Adobe as a company is. I don't think customers like the company per se. They like the product, but not the company. If you just take a look at the pricing, for example. So I saw this Reddit thread here, for example. Oh yeah, here it is. So here, however that user was called, wrote, "Hello everyone, price for the Creative Cloud is around $600 to $700 a year. So let's say I end up using it for the rest of my life, 40 years or so, that's $27,000 US. Photoshop alone for 40 years would be $10,000 US. Trying to defend them, these prices, am I missing something here? So yeah, those prices are really high. And just to give you an overview of what the pricing model right now looks like. So for the Creative Cloud, you pay around $660 per month, so around $700 a year. For the photography offering, you pay around $20 a month. Acrobat Pro is $20 a month. Yeah, and you see the other prices on screen right now. All right, so that was the first risk. Or the first reason why I'm a bit cautious here. The other reason would be the AI disruption risk. I think the risk of Adobe being fundamentally disrupted, say over the next 10 to 15 years, has materially increased over the last 3 to 4 years. And arguably, with the new image generation model released by ChatGPT or by OpenAI the other day. I mean, I'm sure you saw all of these comic manga style photos going viral on all sorts of social platforms. If you take a look at the capabilities of these new AI tools already, you have to wonder, well, what is this going to do to Adobe's business? Just to present you two examples here. So I saw one tweet, for example, where you had this empty room and you asked, or the user asked ChatGPT to place furniture in it and decoration to make it good looking. And basically at the snap of a finger, you had this whole room filled with nice looking furniture and so on and so forth. Something which usually maybe a designer would do, and that would take him a lot of time. And then another example here, I saw multiple threads on X again that highlighted, basically one was about marketing posters, basically poster campaigns for various brands that were generated with the new image generation model of OpenAI. And the other one was about actual video campaigns, which I think, I'm not entirely sure about the work process here, but they were also AI generated. And the results, and that's the important point, they were incredibly impressive. Like, honestly, like a lot of jobs will be lost over the next 10 years. I'm certain about that, because they will just be replaced by AI, which can do it better at a lower cost and much more quickly. So taking all of this into consideration, I think the tail end risk of Adobe, which is basically just a fancy way of saying, well, is this business still going to be around 20 years from now? Which, of course, reduces the intrinsic value of the business if you can't be sure about how long the business will generate profits for shareholders. I think that tail end risk has materially increased, and I'm not sure what price would justifiably reflect that development. So that's why I'm not invested so far. On top of that, what you maybe also have to bring up is competition. So Canva is also growing like weed. It keeps continuing growing like weed. I would have to check the numbers, but I think they used to grow at like 30-40% for quite some time now. I also saw an interesting infographic the other day that highlighted that Canva, to my surprise, is actually one of the most used tools for AI tools, AI capabilities, which I didn't expect. So I think we had OpenAI in the top spot, and I don't know, in spot 3 or 4, we already had Canva, if I remember correctly. I'll try to find it and display it on screen. I'm not sure if I will be able to. Yeah, so taking all of this into consideration, you have to make a judgment here. So obviously you have a lot of things that speak for Adobe. I just highlighted the financials, the nature of the business. You also have recent news that the CFO started buying Adobe stocks, which is also always a good sign when an insider makes material transactions. Let me just pull up the article again here. So here, Market Watch writes, Adobe CFO just made a rare purchase of stock. Sends an upbeat signal. So CFO Dan Durren's purchase last week of $508,000 worth of Adobe shares came after the company's latest earnings got panned by investors. Adobe shares hit a nearly 2-year low following that report, but his latest purchase aligns with his quote-unquote opportunistic approach to buybacks as Adobe's financial chief. Speaking of buybacks, I think another metric worth highlighting here that I didn't bring up yet is the current buyback yield, meaning how much capital is a company returning to shareholders relative to the price you're paying. In the last 12-month buyback yield, where is it? It's actually 6.7%, which is very material. However, you also have to highlight, I have these numbers right here. Give me 1 second. Yeah, now I found it. So you also have to highlight over the last 12 months, Adobe used 11.3 billion to repurchase its own stock. However, over the same time period, the company only generated 9.2 billion in free cash flow. So the company was actually using some debt or some of the cash and cash equivalents the company was already sitting on to repurchase that amount of stock. And then you would also have to take into account stock-based compensation, obviously. Yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Let me know what you think of Adobe. Are we looking at an attractive opportunity here already or not yet? When would you be willing to make your first purchase here? And I'll talk to you in one of my next videos. Take care.